Hi, it's Norm, and I'm going to try and do video blog this week. I've been wanting to do it for a while, and I've seen many of you doing this kind of thing, and you all seem so comfortable and at ease with yourselves. And I guess I need a little more practice yet. I still feel like when that record light comes on, I somehow turn into a different person or something and get very awkward. But I'm going to give it a shot here. So this week in Pedagogy First, we have been reading about some of the different levels of using the web for teaching between the fully on-site class and the fully online class. And we had several different levels that were in the readings this week, starting with the web enhanced level, which is mostly bringing in some web components into the classroom or into the assignments, but still basically having a on the ground class with a classroom. And the next level was what they described as a blended or a hybrid model. Here there's much more web influence or web parts of the course. There may be even less of a class meeting and more of an online meeting going on than there is in the web enhanced class. In our book also describes this as a hybrid model, although I have heard or I've seen in some readings hybrid defined as a class that's designed for students to take both fully online as well as students coming to the class to meet on a regular basis. So there's still a classroom, but the mix is that some of the students in the class are actually never in the classroom. They may be uh, joining into a webcast live or a recording or something. But the mixture is that you have some fully online students and some fully on-site students, and that's a little bit of a difference where the mix is partly in class and partly online for everyone. Um, and then, of course, there's the fully online model, which is kind of what we're doing here in Pedagogy First, I guess. We don't have a classroom of any sort that we meet. In the readings, we also talked or read a little bit about so-called open courses, and my understanding of what open means, well, there's really two definitions that seem common, but they're very related. One being that the class is open to anyone, even though you may have some students who are registered and are actually taking the course for some kind of credit or certification or something. The class is still open to anyone else who wants to participate and join in. The other definition of open that I think of when I have open classes is that it's on the open web. It's all out there. It's not behind a like an LMS system or something like that. And I think in order to have an open class that's open to all, you pretty much need to have the open web as well. So, like I said, the two kind of are related. Another topic that came up in the reading and has been in the literature quite a bit is this idea of flipping the class, making more and more of the traditional lecture and content presentation and stuff online and using the on-site time for things like um, discussions and interactions and maybe labs and hands-on exercises that are often delegated to homework. I kind of like this idea. I find that when I have students working on a project in class, they're usually asking a lot more questions than they are when they're sitting there listening to a lecture. Um, in fact, I found that my own classes prior to Pedagogy First had come close to the web enhanced model. I used the web extensively, especially email and a class website that I put together using Google Sites that had all the materials that was ever handed out in class and class notes and just other links of interest that I might have found. announcements and so on and so forth, the syllabus and everything was all available online for the students, but it was all optional. They didn't need to use any of that stuff to take the course. So, but many of them did use it. And I know that because I would see notes sometimes that I had put up there, printed out in their notebooks. And so I guess some of them found some value to it. I even had a Facebook group, and that worked with some. Others didn't seem to care for it very much, or just didn't use it in any case. But where I was teaching, anyways, there was no LMS system available, at least not for the on-site teachers. And but I used Ngrade for keeping track of my grades and my attendance and stuff. And the students actually really liked that a lot, and it saved me a lot of time. Before I had discovered Ngrade, I was making periodic grade reports to each student individually, and it was be a whole Saturday morning to put those reports together. And now it goes much more smoothly. They can look it up anytime, and I managed to keep it up to date without having to set aside such a big block of time to do that. So I think I was moving towards this idea of a flipped classroom, although I didn't know it was called that at the time. But just my classes tend to be things, technical things like programming in computer hardware and networks, and there are labs, and I have to work the lab time in along with the class time. So the more time that I can provide for lab exercises in class, I think the better off things are, rather than spending the whole class on a lecture and then not having time to get through the exercises. So I was trying to put more and more stuff online in order to allow for more lab time and questions along those lines. So the last prompt from this week's lesson is, what are the new ideas here? And I don't know if this is a new idea, but in looking at the spectrum from the fully on-site to the fully online class, there does seem to be a progression from fully on-site to adding some web enhancements to moving to a more blended or hybrid model, and fully on to fully online and open classes. And it seems to me that perhaps we could develop a program or a sequence of classes that moved along that line, so that students and faculty who have some reluctance to dive into online head first, could experience kind of this more gradual transition and perhaps get more comfortable as they went through these different steps. And so after maybe a few courses or a few semesters, the idea of an online class wouldn't be so intimidating for students or teachers. And I don't know if anyone has tried doing that kind of a thing. Maybe the first year students would be in the web enhanced classes, and the next year maybe get a little more blending and hybrid type stuff going on and so on. But it seems to me like it would be a good idea. I don't know, maybe not. I'd be interested to hear what you think. So it looks like I've been yammering on now for almost 9 minutes, which is probably plenty long enough for this video. So I'm going to shut it down before I shut down. Are there any questions? See you next time.